Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again for Hudson County Review Live. I am the man whose voice soothes like Sean Combs and can throw hands like John Jones. Once again, we're joined with bad boy Jersey City publisher Bruce Alston. Bruce, thanks for popping in.
No problem, buddy. No problem.
So, Bruce, obviously we just had some runoff results in Jersey City, and I know you've been talking a lot about it, and there's a lot to be said. So let's just start off nice and easy in Ward A. It was pretty academic. Denise Ridley was going to win that one, but she certainly did in dominant fashion, a 2-1 margin. So, I mean, yes. What was your reaction there?
Not surprising. I just didn't think that Joe Conti had the ground troops really to get out. I think we saw that his number stayed the same, her number stayed the same, and I just think that she had more bodies, more organization. She's built up name recognition over the last 2 years, so I don't think that should surprise too many people at all.
So if you're Joe Conti, I mean, you know, you guys were in the same assembly race together a couple years ago. I mean, as a guy with name recognition, a guy that is known to be able to get the vote out more than you would expect, but, you know, get to those championship rounds and just doesn't seem to find a way to win. So, I mean, if you're him, what do you think you do from here?
I think Joe's a guy that's been in this 30, 40 years. I think it might be Joe might look. I'm not sure if he's going to run again as a candidate. Let's say. I think that there might be opportunities for him maybe to do what he's been doing. Start a civic association. Mentor some of the young guns. Support Denise. You know, I just think that Joe has shown that he does have a following of people that will come out and vote for him. I think he's built up incredible track record of community service. He should just keep doing what he's doing. Simple as that.
Fair enough. And just a shout out to our viewers. We will be taking questions today, so if you have something to say, just simply write a comment in on the live, and me and or Bruce would be happy to answer it to the best of our ability. So with that said, let's move forward to Ward B, and I know you had a lot to say about Ward B.
Yes.
Certainly, Mayor Steven Fulop and his team put a lot of resources in there to take out Chris Gadsden, and you know, they were successful in doing such. And I know you were disappointed with that in a way. So what was your takeaway on that? I mean, I know you've again had a lot to say on this topic.
No, I just think that this is what bothers me, and I tell you why. I think we truly need a time when maybe a switch in Jersey City where mayoral elections and the council races are in different years. Okay, because here's a young man that won a special election, was very active and was very engaged, let's say, over the 1 year that he was in office, okay? And there's no doubt about it that the mayor offered him to run on a ticket, okay? I'm sure he considered it, right? I know there's people who advised him to do it, right? But Chris he wanted to stay somewhat independent. He chose to stay with independent, but I think that he did upset the team Fulop when he decided to say, okay, I'm running with not only Michael Young and Rich Bogiano, but I'm also going to run with Team Massacudas. I think that made them say, you know what, guys, we're going to rev up. We're going to run a strong candidate, because Mayor's a strong candidate, qualified candidate, articulate woman, and he said, you know, we're going to get him out of there, right? And I think that what it says is this, though, is that here's a man who thought that his independence, and he was worried about upsetting a group of independent people. But you know what happened? Those same group of independents, most of them, went and supported the Fulop candidate. So he probably wouldn't have lost anything if he had ran with Fulop. Like, there's no doubt about it, if Chris had ran with Fulop, the opposition against him would have been very weak. Okay. Now, with Chris Gadsden, what he had to do is this, though, is that one thing he's going to learn is that, I'm pretty sure he's learned, you need money. If you're going to take that stance as an independent and you're going to run an independent campaign, a la James Solomon, you have to have those financial resources to go to bat against that machine or whatever, right? I don't think Chris has anything to be upset about. What I'm more got upset about in Ward B is the tactics used on the last days of the election.
So you were upset by the signs being ripped down?
I was upset about the signs being written down. I was upset about some of the things I was hearing. You know what I mean? I do understand that there were some people who think that, let's say, they want to say that Bruce said race played a part. No doubt, race plays a part in every election in Jersey City, because the first thing any candidate wants to know, how much a Latino vote I'm going to get, how much of the black vote I'm getting, how much the Muslim vote I'm going to get. It plays a role. What I think that what the people do not understand is that here is once again, right, is that we see what happens when there's an independence shown, right? An independence shown by a man of color. Okay, I didn't see them coming after Rich Vogiano the same way. I didn't see them coming after Michael Young the same way, because they knew he had the financial resources. The way that I saw them coming after Chris Gadsden, that upset me. I think that upset a lot of people in the community, and I think it's something a lot of people don't forget. I think a lot of people can remember what happened in 1989 when Glenn Cunningham ran against Jerry McCann. There's some strange things that happened in that election. All right, and I think there was some strange things there, and I think that I called names. I think there's people on the team Fulop, and not necessarily, and I'm not naming Mayor Fulop because I've heard through that he was very upset about some of the things that was going on. I'm not talking about Bill O'Day, but I'm talking about Rolando Lavero. I'm talking about Paul Bellenboyer. I'm talking about David Donnelly. I'm talking about Phil Kenny. I think they owe Chris an apology. A public apology. Because one thing it told me was this, though. They are so socially active, social media, they never denied it. That showed me something. They never come out and say we didn't do it. And you got a city council president with 2 former councilmen and with a ward leader out there doing something like that. Tells me there's something with Mira's campaign leadership that really dropped the ball, and it's probably damaged her credibility, and I think it's wounded the community. Don't get me wrong. Mira is a good candidate, a great candidate, nice lady, and I went on to say, if it wasn't for my relationship, my respect for Chris Gadsden, if she was the candidate who was running, I would have no problem. I would have supported her, no doubt about it. That's how I feel about it.
So obviously you said a mouthful, but so look, to play devil's advocate for just a moment, wouldn't it be fair to say that in every election in Jersey City and beyond that there are campaign operatives that rip sides down? Not saying it's okay, but it is pretty common practice. Would you agree with that?
Yes, but you know what though? How many of these candidates, right, have the let's say they have the resources of having the DPW department working for them? Okay, former Mayor McCann was out there ripping sides down. Okay, former Mayor McCann ripped down my campaign sides. I've seen operatives running in past campaigns where they will take, we had on tape, right? We had on tape where it showed my sign and a McKnight sign. They wouldn't rip my sign up, but left the McKnight sign down. See, this is the systematic bossism that goes on. These are the things that Fulop supporters at one time talked about the Haley administration, but they're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So, yes, it happens. Yes, no doubt about it, it happens. But at the end of the game, when you have city workers pulling down signs, when you have city workers even making signs on campaign on the clock, that's a problem also.
So basically what you're saying is when you have the incumbent's advantage, the home field advantage, whatever you want to call it, and then you're going to go the extra mile to rip down the signs, you feel like you're just kicking a man or a woman when they're down.
Yeah, I mean, they had him outmanned. They had him outspent, right? It just tells you that they felt as though they could not quantify how strong Chris was. You know, that they felt as though, you know, we got to do this. I mean, you got a city council president going ripping literature down. The city council president. I mean, first of all, I'm surprised Lavaro was walking anyway in the runoff election. I mean, he was secure, but it showed me when they had to bring those that it really went overboard. I think it was embarrassing to some. You know, that you have your leadership doing that, and also what I think it was insulting more than anything that really pained me is that. You can say what you want to say about Chris Gadsden. You can disagree with his politics. But no one can dispute that he is a family man, a father of 3 beautiful girls, right?
Sure.
And what I want people to say to me is this, though, right? Is that the people who didn't support Chris, that's one thing. But don't disrespect them. Don't disrespect a man who's trying to be a role model for his daughters and say, listen, you know what? He was the first one who came out and congratulated Mira, right? At the same time, pay some respect of what he represents. You know what I mean? And these are the same people that are muted on some of the real social and injustice issues, right? But they take it their time to, oh, well, that happens in the spirit of a campaign. Well, it makes me wonder, how would you react, right, when things are not going out your way? How will you govern? How will you legislate? Will you legislate at that thing where it's win at all costs? You know? And we've seen with that win at all costs, the mentality that it's had in this Fulop administration with some of the people who have been let go, some of the people who are about to be let go, right? We've seen it. We've seen that, though. And it's an unfortunate thing. And do I have some bias towards Chris Gossett? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But I've been open with my bias, though.
Sure.
You know, and very open about it.
Okay. And yeah, we'll certainly get into those other topics, but let's finish off with the other two wards first. So in Ward C, again, not a monumental surprise, but Rich Baggiato finished with a comfortable win over John Hanasak. Just any parting thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, Baggiato has 1,700 votes. He showed that in 2013. He's showing that in 2017. Rich is that uncle that everyone knows, right? And the stars of this is his kids. That, you know, Terrence touched on in New Jersey and everything, is that they know how to get these people, the hilltop, whatever, to get out, to get Rich out. I mean, there was a lot of smack talking from the Hanasak team. Let's get it right. And I'm sure Rich he wanted this one. You know what I mean? And that was said to me. If this is the campaign he wanted to win, because in fairness, he felt that John and his family felt that Hanasak took some shots over the past 3 years. You know what I mean? And the way Hanasak looks like, he's not going anywhere. So will it be a repeat in 4 years? I don't know. Will Rich serve the whole 4 years? I don't know. But I'll tell John Hanasak, Rich has a daughter that looks more than qualified to take over from Dad in elected office. So something tells me the Baggiato is going to be in Ward C for a very long time. That's the way I look at it.
So, in short, you would say it's probably going to be a while before John Hanasak is elected councilman, if you had to guess.
Yeah, I don't see how he's going to beat. I don't see how he would beat Rich again. And I don't see it. I don't know how these teams are going to line up. You know what I mean? And you know, is he going to run as an independent? Will he get another opportunity to run with Team Fulop? Because Fulop's running again in 2021, people. All right? Mark, I said it first, you know.
It's a pretty bold claim.
Oh, he's running again.
How could you be so sure 4 years away?
We'll talk about it. He's running.
Okay.
He's running.
Well, with that said, before we get into that, you bring up a lot of interesting side discussion, as always. But Wardy, of course, the biggest surprise for 99.9% of people watching these runoffs. It looked like Rebecca Symes was in prime position to take this thing. You know, 3 or 4 people on the city council endorse her. E. Junior Maldonado endorses her. Nick Grillo endorses her. She had a lot of establishment players in that office, and lo and behold, James Solomon still manages a way to squeak it out by 249 votes. So, you know, when you're looking at the Hudson County clerk's office and they're tracking the race, well, what's going through your head is it looks like Solomon's going to pull it out.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something now. You know, this was the one race that I backed away from even endorsing anybody on. In the general and in the runoff. What surprised me, one thing is that I talked to Solomon people up to the general. I mean, they were very, very confident. Like, you know, we'll get into the runoff. We'll get into the runoff. Then I talked to Rebecca's people. They were sure that she would win. They said she would win, right? Their polling came out to be somewhat accurate, okay? What I was surprised at was when it came down to them two, they could never tell me. I would say, is she going to win it? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. So something tells me that polling told them that Solomon either had made up those points, that these endorsements wasn't doing anything. But this is what someone said to me on the night before the runoff and on the runoff. They said, you go in Solomon's office, there's no one there. There's teams out there canvassing. You go to Symes' office, there's 20 people there. Those people don't need to be in the office. Those people need to be out there working the field. two hardworking candidates, right? Both tainted somewhat by outside money, okay? And at the end of the day, Solomon pulled that vote out, man. That's hard to do. I mean, he made 17 points? I mean, that's hard.
I think it was a little less, like 12.
Okay.
But it's still a significant number.
Significant number, but his voters knew that it was going to be a runoff. Huz didn't know it was going to be a runoff, it seems, and she lost by 249 votes. Should she be upset? No. Should she be heartbroken? Yes, because it was there to win, you know. But
you think they got a little cocky, or what do you attribute it to?
No, I think that Solomon was just that damn good on election day. Period. Though, let's not take nothing away from him. Like,
he ran a perfect GoTV.
He ran a perfect GoTV and I'll be the first one to say that his campaign should be giving his campaign manager a bonus check. Because
Robin Logsdon's certainly a name to watch.
Yeah, Robin, definitely. The young man, no one knew him. I mean, he sought advice from people. Him and James looked like they worked well together. They made it happen, you know. And, you know, people say, well, Bruce, you took shots at James because he raised personal money, whatever. Hey, I'll be the first one to say, that's the only way you're going to beat them. My issue was with, hey, money coming from outside of Jersey City, whether it's in the form of a PAC, whether it's form of family members and friends, right? Who do you owe later? And that's what we're going to see, you know? I mean, I just think that we need to give all these council people a chance to serve, all right? I think that what he did was very special, but I also think that when you have the Ellen Simons, when you have the Segeda Rondadam, right?
Matt Shapiro, R.J. Harper,
John Theroff,
Michael Billy. The list goes on.
You know, Pamela Johnson. You know what I mean? No, she helped out down there. You know, I mean, it helped him, and he was able to overcome it. I mean, it seems that Rebecca had the establishment people, the electeds, right? Seems like James, he had the people that were still on the ground. Junior Maldonado and Danny Rivera and Rolando Rivera, I would ask them plainly, how many doors did you knock on for her? You know? I mean, they're not Steven Fulop. I mean, if Steve endorses her, I think it makes up 250 votes. I do.
Why do you think he decided not to?
You know what? I think this is what it is. Do I empower the guy that I used to be aligned with? Or do I empower a group of people who used to be supporters of mine, right? And who are backing Solomon now? Or do I just stay out of it and let my kids just sprinkle around? I think he basically said, knowing Steve, he debated with it, and he finally said, you know what? I think he knew Solomon was going to win. I think when it got to that runoff, I think full of people thought, let it be Grillo and Symes. Let it be Grillo and Symes. They can make a deal with either one of them. You know, they got friends with the administration. I think once it got to Symes and Solomon, I think that Steve felt that Solomon was going to win. And he distanced himself from it. Now,
it just wasn't worth taking the loss.
It wasn't worth taking the loss. He still takes the loss, though. He still takes the loss. Oh, we're not letting him not take that. He takes that L. Because if he takes that big W, he's taking his L. Because when you lose your ward home, that's his home, Ward 8, 83% of the vote, and you don't have a councilman there, somebody's got to take that. You know what I mean? Someone's got to take that. And he's got to take it.
Fair enough. And another fun fact that you and perhaps some of our other viewers may not be aware of, another big pickup that James made between the general and the runoff that I think was critical here was Ryan Yako, a guy that's worked with State Democratic Committee Chair John Curry, a guy that helped Mike DeFusco's mayoral campaign. You know, he came in and quietly did his thing as a behind-the-scenes guy, and his GoTV is very strong, and I certainly don't think that did his campaign any harm.
Yeah, it didn't. It helped him. I mean, I think they realized that, you know what? They looked at the guy's credentials. First of all, this is me. If I'm a political operative, I go, listen. This guy raised $200,000 through family and friends for a wood race. You go with that guy. Yeah,
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. From a political, it's a no-brainer. That's the guy you support. And I don't bring that up to take shots at Solomon or whatever, because you know what? If Bruce Alston can raise $200,000 from family and friends, I would do it too. There's not a candidate out there that wouldn't do it. But here's a guy with a very strong message. He's able to utilize his resources in order to get that message out. Good for him. Because going up against this HCDO and a JCDO, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take money, resources, or it's going to take a strong ground game like a Rich Bogiano.
So what do you think's next for Rebecca Symes? Do you see her running in a ward or a council race in 4 years, or what do you think her move will be from here on out?
I think that this is the thing. I think that there's Symes supporters that will never back Solomon, just from hearing the chatter. Mm-hmm. I think she's got to look at it. I'm 249 votes away. Do I get on a team next time with a strong mayoral? Do I actually get on the mayor's ticket? Is it offered to me, or I just wait? I think she's a young lady. She's 250 votes away in a runoff. See what Solomon does. See what he performs. I don't think anybody should be making a decision right now in any ward, right, to run in 4 years. I think that's just is lunacy to that. You need to see how things are going to play out before you make that decision. Because if you're choosing now that you're running 4 years from now, that's just based on your ego at all. See how the person legislates. See how the mayor governs. See how it plays out. And then make an informed decision with advisors, family members, if there's something you should do. That's what they should. That's what your candidate should be doing, and that's what she should do.
All right, fair enough. And now, to one of your earlier points. So you said that Mayor Fulop will be running in 2021, even though he has pledged, 4 years ago he would only do 2 terms. He brought that up several times during this campaign, as you know. And now, before you remark on that, though, a lot of people claim that Solomon will be running for mayor in 4 years, even though he says he's not. But some people don't believe that. Where does that all come together in your mind?
This is what won't happen, okay? Solomon will be like Steve Fulop was in 2009, all right? It will look like he's running for mayor, but you know what?
He's going to pump the brakes at the last
second.
He'll
pump the brakes at the last second and realize, you know what? I'm better off doing another term. Maybe Fulop leaves early, right? And I'll run in the special election, okay? That's going to be the play, okay? And the reason why I say Steve runs, you got to follow the words very carefully. It went from a 2-year pledge to him saying, I told people it would take 2 terms to get it back on track, okay? That's the difference in the verbiage, okay? It went from a 2-term pledge to I told my supporters that it would take me 2 terms to get it back on track, to get things right, okay? Where's he going? I mean, he can't run against Menendez. Menendez, if re-elected, whoever gets elected, will be a 6-year term. Will be a 6 years, right? Albio has pumped the brakes on any congressional run, and I don't think it's a smart move for the mayor of Jersey City to take a congressional seat. I think the mayor.
Why do you say that?
I think the mayor of Jersey City position is a. If someone asked someone tomorrow, would you rather be a congressman or the mayor of Jersey City, the way we've developed as a city, you're going to want that job as the mayor of Jersey City because you can constantly demand the news cycle. As a congressman, he's not going to get that type of play, all right? Especially...
Well, congressmen don't get a lot of local news play.
Exactly. And you have a big star like, forget Menendez, you have Cory Booker in the Senate. So... Steve, what Mayor Fulop is going to do simply is this. He is going to be he's going to be a lot more hands-on this term. He's going to make some changes with the directorships, we know. But it's all going to be about a 3rd term. It's just a play for him. There's nothing else politically for him to go. He's not going. He's not running for county exec. He doesn't want that. He's gonna play this mayor and see what happens.
So you mentioned, I believe it was 2 columns ago, that there was a slim but still realistic possibility he could primary Albio Series in 2020. So you're saying now that that's not happening?
It won't happen. Now, if Bob Menendez is in the U.S. Senate, it will not happen. What you will see the mayor doing in 2018, we've seen that the Senator Mendez was very upset over people that he thought were aiming for his seat. There's problems in the senator basically saying also that's his seat, okay? That is the people's seat, okay? But he felt that as he was down, I also think that he felt that Fulop challenged him before for his Congress seat and felt as though that they had an improved relationship. I think the way the senator is going to look at it now, there's going to be a penance that has to be served. And what you're going to see Steven Fulop doing, he's going to raise a lot of money for Bob Menendez's re-election campaign. He's going to make that right. He's going to show people that he's very supportive of the senator, right? And there was talk that if this trial hadn't come up with Menendez, he might not have even ran for another term, right?
Now he's just doing it to prove a point?
Now I think he's doing it to prove a point.
By the way, for those that are looking for the infamous political grave patch, there's an arts and crafts fair in Jersey City tomorrow. Get them while they still last. You'll have to talk to Amy Wilson about that, but they are available from what I'm told. So with that, another thing that I wanted to touch on that you brought up is money in politics, specifically in these New Jersey elections. Now, you may have seen that earlier today, or this week, excuse me, I did a story where Mayor-elect Bala in Hoboken, I mean, he raised over $500,000, including PAC contributions. And, you know, there were good candidates that raised $150,000, $200,000, $250,000, and they were nowhere near that 5,000 vote threshold. So that's one example, you know. And, of course, in Jersey City, Mayor Fulop spent over $2 million. And, you know, Bill Massacutis just got blown out of the water, as we obviously know. And as we talked about earlier, you know, in Ward E, over $350,000 spent on a council seat.
On a council seat.
So, with that said, I mean, do you feel like we're at a point in Hudson County in New Jersey where if you can't raise 6 figures, there's no point of even running?
I'm going to say, what we're learning is this, though. There is nothing affordable anymore in Hudson County or Jersey City. Housing's not affordable. Running for political office, it's not affordable to you, you know? If you don't raise money, or if you don't just get out there and connect with people and really, campaigns are going to show us this. You're going to be running, candidates are going to start running probably 24 months out now because they can't raise the money, or you're just going to have to have money. I mean, I want to see what, you know, we talk about the Ward F race, let's say Jermaine Robinson. I would like to know how much he really spent, because there's a great deal of money spent in that race. But look, from his campaign, it looked like he spent a lot of money. I mean, I would say he probably spent $50,000, or he spent more than all the other candidates combined. So it's disturbing.
So do you think it's a fair statement to say that at this point in Hudson County, every election's basically just becoming a money spending contest?
I mean, you got to have the money to run. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, that's what it's becoming. Michael Young had the money. Becca Symes, Jane Solomon had the money. Denise Ridley in Ward A, she loaned the campaign $25,000 in the beginning. I mean, that's what it's coming down to, money. And people want to put you on a ticket unless you have money.
Yeah, simple analysis there. And finally, and for the last point, you astutely noted the other evening that there are going to be some city director shape-ups, and other outlets have picked it up. So you were the first to mention that David Cruz, that heads the Housing and Economic Corporation.
Anthony Cruz, don't get David don't get his brother upset with you.
I apologize. Yes, sorry, I got them confused. Anthony Cruz will be out in the new year. So we know that. We know that Marvin Walton, the Housing Authority Director, will be out. I don't believe that's until April, though. And we've also just learned, as we were setting up, that the new rec director, Kevin Williamson, will be out. So
I was just telling someone that before I met you that he was out. And he was like, it was a rec employee. They were like, we don't know that. I said, he's gone. I found that out last night, that he was gone. I'm even hearing that Jeremy Farrell is probably gone. But he's not going as far as on bad terms. He's probably going to become the executive director of the MUA. Do I take a $130,000 a year job as the city attorney, or do I take a $240,000 a year job as the MUA?
Very tough decision.
Jeremy, I think I would love to have that. I mean, Jeremy's a good guy too. I mean,
it's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. A great problem to have.
So, obviously, the Anthony Cruz one speaks a little more history, but to the others, before we get to that, what do you attribute that to?
I think the mayor's going to be here, and the mayor's realized, though, is that he was running for governor at first. He let his people ran a little bit rogue, right? But I think that he realized, I'm going to put people here that I think that can work, because that's what's going to tell you that he's running for that third term. I'm telling you.
You're sticking to your guns on that one.
He's running for a third term.
Okay.
He has to run for the third term. He knows that. And he needs to be upset. He needs to be frank and honest with people and tell them right now that it is an option. You know, I mean, I don't think you and Terrence can try, or maybe he might take the question from Chickpea, okay? I don't know if he'll take it from anything else. Will Mayor Fulop come out and definitively say he will not seek a third term? He's not going to say that.
No, I don't think that's happening. But, you know, he never said he was running for governor, so...
Yeah, and then he decided, and he never said he's running for governor. Then he came out and said he was dropping out of the governor's race. So, I mean, you know.
Well, technically, he said, I'm endorsing Phil Murray for governor and I'm seeking re-election.
No, you're wrong there. He said he was endorsing his good friend.
There's always nuances to the language, like you said before.
Yeah.
So back to Anthony Cruz. Obviously, we know he was the director caught in the middle of this quote-unquote bid rig scandal, where Muhammad Akil, at the time the chief of staff, and Sean Sully Thomas Sullivan was the head of the JCDO, and he also had a position under Cruz in city government. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there was some talk, there's been some testimony that says that Cruz also demanded for the same good energy company to get that contract. Mm-hmm. So you would imagine he would not be a good favor with the administration. But
you know what, though? Let me tell you. If that's true, right, and that's the reason why he's out, right, he should have been fired when it happened. Simple as that. I mean, how do you say you're letting him go for that? What I think, though, is what I'm being told, there might be other
collateral damage.
There might be other collateral damage. You know what I mean? I think that I know Anthony, good guy. I think that being caught, being told in other depositions that people saying what he alluded to of having a certain operative that he runs through everything by. I think that's troubling. I think that's troubling even to the mayor. Like, are you really running everything by? You know, I mean, we know Steve, and no disrespect by calling him Steve, we know Mayor Fulop well enough to know that stuff like that stays in the back of his mind. You know what I mean? You know, he wants 100% loyalty to him, right? And he's like a lot like Brian Stack in a way. Though they want your loyalty. I think he's learning from Stack. I think Stack has started mentoring him and letting him know, listen, get on your directors, work hard, the politics will take care of themselves. And that's something Brian Stack has lived by. And I think Steven Fulop is starting to realize that.
Well, many of the old-timers say, as you know, good government is good politics and vice versa. So, you know, I understand that mantra. And, you know, on this final topic, it appears that this hasn't been reported yet, but I'll probably put something formal out tomorrow, but you've heard as well, I believe, that the replacement for Cruz will be Marcos Vigil, the deputy mayor. So what do you think about that as a potential replacement?
I think he has the experience. I think I've met Marco maybe like once or twice. The one thing I'll say is this, though. The mayor has very good deputy mayors, ones that have not taken the political route that past deputy mayors have taken in Jersey City.
And I'll say they're very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic. They're about the work. They're not about the cameras, right? it seems like the mayor said to them, listen, I want you to concentrate here, and I'll worry about the community relations. And that's what he's done, you know. What I'm really want to see is who becomes the next police chief. That's going to be interesting. And if I'm Edgar Martinez, I mean, he's someone I think that feels as though that he's qualified. I think there's other John Corey in the police department. Those guys want a shot, you know. I mean, I think the mayor needs to come out and say, is there really a national search going on? Someone should be there by let's say by January 1, I would hope. So let's see what happens.
It's certainly going to be interesting. The number of contenders, as there always is whenever there's an opening at the top of the department, even the police department. And finally, Bruce, on the county-wide level, we're talking a little about Brian Stack and his politics. Cat's been out of the bag for a little while now that he will be the 8th CDO chairman in June, and multiple sources, multiple publications have talked about this already. Though an interesting wrinkle that I don't know if you knew, and others may not have known yet, is that it looks like he's tapping Mark Albiez to be the executive director of the HCDO. Of course, like anything else in life, it's subject to change, but assuming this is what we get, the 1-2 punch of Stack Albiez at the HCDO hierarchy, if you will, what do you think about that?
If that happens, if the only person who should be worried if that happens is Tom DeGise. That tells you that there's going to be a change, and I would say in the county executive seat. By you telling me that, if Mark Albiez takes over, it makes me wonder now: is those rumors I was hearing possibly of John Manella being a county executive candidate? Whether or not that's true, is there a possibility of Sandy Cunningham really running for county exec with the support of Brian and Steve? It puts a lot of things in play. But if Mark becomes the executive director and Brian's the chairman, I don't know if they're going to be called the HC Dedo anymore, though. As you know, as Augie Torres puts it, you know.
Sure.
I think that you will see a renewed effort of constant fundraising. I think that you'll see them pushing these these elected officials to really get out there, raise money for the party. That's shocking what you just told me, though. I didn't expect Albiez. Hey.
Well, like I said, everything's subject to change.
Pays $70,000 a year, right?
I believe that's correct.
$70,000, chief of staff. Hey, not a bad gig.
Well, let's see how long he remains in that post.
Not bad.
As chief of staff, but that's another story for another day.
I like Mark Albiez. I like him. I think he's, you know what? I take shots at Fulop. But I'll tell you this.
Do you? I never noticed.
I take shots at Fulop, but there's some good people around him. I mean, Mark Albiez is he's a good chief of staff. I always thought he was a good chief of staff when he was with Brian Stack. I think Stacey Flanagan's a good director. You don't know how many calls, Stacey, I'm sorry, you don't know how many calls I get from people just complaining how much of a taskmaster she is. I think that there's a large talent pool out there that can serve the city in various capacities. I just don't think the mayor just has to get so political sometimes with his appointments. And we'll see what happens. John Lynch doesn't work, so I won't mention him.
Oh, boy, not much holiday cheer from you today.
Nah, John Lynch told me yesterday I needed to get a job, so I'm just taking a shot at him now.
All right, final note for today at least. So, hypothetically, obviously, it's very early for 2019 elections, but so we were just talking about the county dynamics. Today, December 8th, 2017, hypothetically, we have John Manella, we have State Senator Sandra Cunningham, we have Brian Stack himself, and, I'm sure there's probably many other candidates. Who do you think is the most likely to challenge Tom DeGise in the event things do go haywire and we get some sort of internal civil war again?
Manella.
And why do you say that?
Because they're not going to, because he's a staunch ally of Fulop. There's a lot of talk that he should have deserved the assembly seat at one time. I think that he's he was a key part of the mayor's campaign team. I think that Fulop knows he has his loyalty. He's a guy that knows the old school. He knows the old politics and the young politics. It's always been a passion of his, I think, to serve in public service, and I think he has the right mentality just to really bring people like, hey, like a calming effect, you know what I mean? And I think that it kind of fits his personality. I think it fits for personality as a county exec.
All right, Bruce. Well, once again, it was great to have you. Bruce Alston,
No
a true statesman with a great scarf game. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You know, it was a pleasure, as always, and we will hope you have a fantastic weekend and catch you next week.
Happy holidays.